You're wondering how to clean your Traeger smoker? Stick around, I'm going to show you how. Hey, welcome back to The Average Kitchen. Today's another no-cook video. Today I'm going to show you how I'm going to clean and maintain my Century 22 Traeger grill. So, as you can see, it's a little grimy, it's a little dirty, so I just got some grill degreaser, some barbecue degreaser, and I'm just going to start by just giving it a little spray and let some of that stuff soak up. So Traeger grills are an awesome piece of kit, but there's definitely more maintenance involved than your standard barbecue, I find. Depending on how much you use it and depending on how long your smoke is, will kind of dictate how often you have to take it apart and clean it. If you're doing a brisket that's a 10-12 hour smoke, guaranteed after the next time guaranteed before you use it again, you got to give it a clean. So I'm just going to give this a quick wipe here, just to get some of the grime off. And it's not horrible, but just gives it a bit of a little polish up there. So I'm also going to spray my shelf here. Now these don't come standard on this model, but I ordered it, and I don't know how I would be able to cook without it, because when you come out with a tray of ribs or chicken or whatever, you got to set it down on something. All right, so that's done. So the next thing I'm going to show you here, and again, this doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, it's just to give it a quick wipe. The next thing I'm going to show you is the hopper. So if you can come in tight here, you can see I'm definitely due for some pellets. And you can see all this residual kind of powder that's left behind. Now, it's a little bit hard to see, but you have your auger in there that basically feeds your pellets from your hopper into your firebox. And it's happened to me before where if I don't clean that out, I only clean that probably a couple times a year, but if you don't clean it out, all that powder starts to build up and then prevents your auger from being able to turn. So all I'm gonna do is I have a shop vac here. I know it's gonna drown out our sound, but I'm gonna flick this on. So if you get in tight here again for me, Jamie, now you can see the full function of that auger, what it looks like. So now I know that nothing's gonna get bound up and it's gonna prevent that from feeding your pellets into your firebox. So when I open up my grill here, you'll see it is a little bit dirty, but not actually horrible. So the first thing I do is basically remove my grill. Now, some people wash their grills. I think that's crazy because it takes you a long time to develop the flavor and build up the flavor and get your grill to where you want it. So I just basically heat it up and scrape it. I would never wash it. The next step here is, and this I just do on my own, you don't have to, I put foil down here. And my Traeger's about 2 years old, and this still looks pretty good. If you don't put foil down on this, you're gonna have a real hard time having to try to clean that every single time to get it somewhat decent. So the next step is to pop this out here as well, and you'll see you get a little bit of buildup here. We'll clean that afterwards. And then we take this off here, and again, that's just some of the powder residue you'll see. And we'll put that down here. So if you can pan around in here, Jamie, you can kind of see a lot of residual leftover of burnt off powder basically. And what we want to do is take out this last shield. I'm sure they have fancy names for this stuff. I don't know them off the top of my head. We'll take out that shield, and then we're going to give that whole inside a vacuum. Now, you can see the walls here have some grease and stuff. The way I look at that is that Traeger is seasoned. So it's done so many cooks of pork and beef and chicken, and I've baked in it or whatever, and that just helps season the inside of your Traeger. So we don't want to touch that. Again, I'm going to flick the vacuum on here. I apologize for the sound. All right, bit of a dust storm here, but you can see now how much cleaner that is inside. So basically what we're going to do now is reassemble it the same way we took it apart. The last thing I wanted to mention, maybe not the last thing, but one thing I wanted to mention is every once in a while, have a quick look at your cap on your chimney here. It's happened to me before where this has become grease locked, where this cap was too low, and whether it's from putting the cover on and off and on and off, the cap started to screw down, and I ended up grease locking it, which caused me a huge amount of problems and took me a long time to figure out. So if you ever start to get smoke coming out of your pellet hopper, that'd be the first thing I would check. All right, so this isn't too dirty. So again, there's a little bit of dust here and there just from the pellets. So we'll put that back in. It just sort of sits like that. Again, another thing I recommend, throw a pair of gloves on if you have access to them. All right, so I just dusted that off real quick. I'm gonna put that back into place, and that sits there nicely. All right. So that just sits in place like that. And again, now I'm going to take some fresh, new heavy-duty foil. I'm basically just going to make myself almost like a little tray. So they may make these trays, but I just make my own. It's the same thing you'll see here. I'll show you that in a second, the grease bucket. You can buy inserts for them. I find them to be quite expensive, so I don't buy them. I just make them out of foil. All right, and I'll just put one last piece, smaller piece across the middle. There, it doesn't have to look amazing or perfect. It's just to catch all of the stuff that drips down. So we'll make a loud bang, and then we'll throw our grill back in, like so. And that's pretty much your maintenance. So I don't know how long that took, a couple minutes. I'm gonna top up my pellets here. So I've got a bag I use from Costco. It's a gourmet blend. It's always been great. I'm gonna pour that in. So you can see at the bottom of the bag here, you see some powder. It's unavoidable, it's gonna happen. And it's not a big deal unless you leave it and never clean it, then it becomes a problem for you. So the last thing I want to show you, Jamie, if you don't mind just zooming in here, is this grease bucket that catches some of the drippings. Again, you could buy fancy trays for them. I just make my own. So that is your Traeger maintenance on how to take apart your Traeger, give it a clean, and it be ready for the next cook. So if you like this video, check out some of our others. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you on the next one.